She's always loved dating sims. Learn about the characters and guess what they will like and what they won't. Make choices based on love tactics. And to be in anticipation of whether the characters will be happy with it or whether it will cross their boundaries. Love in the real world ceased to have any meaning for her. The girl was congratulated on getting the job. The guy was very happy because she really got it. The main character noted that these two were destined for each other. The girl was shy and lacked courage, but Sotono-san very delicately and accurately advised her on this matter. The girl said she was just following general guidelines. Now the couple is happy. The woman turned to Miori and said that in such situations you need to keep a smile. It was the manager. Miori said that she tried to smile, but the manager wasn't sure that a marriage counselor should be so serious and cold. You can see her off with a smile because you want the main character to smile. Mr. Maruyama's phone rang. The girl grabbed the phone and immediately ran. She tried to catch up with the couple. She saw that Maruyama and Mikami were in danger of being hit by a car. She had two choices. The first was to hide because it was dangerous, and the second was to save them by risking her life. Miori decided to save them. On the long-awaited day of their wedding, luck turned away from her, but no big deal. But they both stayed alive and will be happy too bad, because she would have liked to see the other main characters. The girl found herself in an unknown place, and next to her stood some guy who spoke to her in an unfamiliar language. This beautiful young man looks at her, but she doesn't understand what he's saying. He looks like the kind who just keeps asking for meetings. This is Chamberlain, he's 28. His profession is a lawyer, his salary is 1,200 kama. He was never married, he has no children. His family consists of a father, mother, and a younger brother. Compatibility with the main character is 60%, closeness and location are 0. Miori grabbed her glasses and didn't understand what was happening. The girl stood up abruptly, causing her head to spin. She was lost in thought and did not understand what the guy was continuing to say. He gave her his cloak and started to leave. Miori thought that this could determine the further development of events, but then she realized that this wasn't some kind of simulator. First, she needed to understand what had happened. Miori has never seen people like this before. The way they talk and dress makes it clear that this is not Japan. Miori didn't understand at all what to do now. She doesn't even understand where to go and what to do. And that's exactly the moment when your stomach needs to rumble. Miori smelled a wonderful aroma. It might be coming from the cafe. When she entered the building, she saw strange men there. She didn't quite understand what it was, but then she couldn't believe her eyes. They gave her a glass. Miori didn't really know if she should drink it, but when she tried it, she realized that it was so delicious. Smells like whatchamacallit apples and cotton candy. Hard to believe a girl would come to a bar all alone. The men assumed the woman was Marcio. Miol realized that she now understood what they were saying. Perhaps it was because she had been drinking. But she doesn't know at all who this woman Marcio is. Suddenly, a man came up from behind and asked if she was Marcio's woman. If so, they asked for congratulations to keep her company. Miol began to understand everything little by little. Another man and a girl came there and asked what they were doing there. The man said that she seemed to them to resemble a Marcio woman. They just wanted to chat with her. The man who came in remarked that if that was the case, he had a similar case. She was raised by a single mother. There was no one to take care of her, so he took her in. This is Mercy Cabreras is so kind. He ordered the girl to greet them. This girl barely said that her name was Manyo. The man said that she was such a slow thinker. She is so modest, quiet, and pathetic. Because of her father's sudden death, she was unable to go out into the world. People like her should be grateful for the care they gave. Miol realized that nothing good would come of this. Such a marriage would never happen. The man was shocked with you that the woman was going to contradict him and noted that her comments were unnecessary here. Miol said that she will not leave it like this because women also have the right to choose. The man was furious that she was actually trying to make him look like an idiot. Miol said that he had no right to force her and could not marry her if she did not want to. The man screamed at her to shut up and started to hit her, but the owner of the bar grabbed his hand. He said that he forbids any showdowns in his establishment. So they had to get out. The man was furious and shouted that he didn't want to see her anymore. He shouted after her that this girl would regret becoming Marcio's woman. The bar owner remarked that she had done something unimaginable. Miol wasn't quite sure what he meant. A girl who fails to marry becomes a disgrace to the family. They are left to live as if they were already dead. So Miol ruined her life. She took off her cloak and threw it at the owner. She asked what was wrong with failing sometimes. Bringing different people together over and over again until each one finds a partner who will become their destiny. That's her job. That girl started crying and ran out of the room. Miyol tried to stop her. Well, the owner grabbed her by the hand. The main character started telling him that he should let her go. The man said that she hadn't paid. She owes him 5 Sven for the lammer. She has to pay and then she can go wherever she wants. Miyol didn't know how to tell him that she didn't have the kind of money they used in this place. The owner said that in that case she would have to pay in kind. The woman asked if he meant to work as much as she drank. Miyol noted that she would be grateful if he did not turn her over to the police and asked what she should do. The owner was surprised and said that what she said, she should marry that girl. An unmarried girl becomes a Marcio woman. She will be looked upon with contempt and censure. This is what it means to refuse a marriage proposal. Miyol didn't understand what kind of nonsense this was. She didn't even believe it. But this is a different world. There are no such concepts as common sense and moral values. The owner remarked that he was interested to see if she could handle it. Miyol said that she would do everything in accordance with the general instructions. First, she needed to find Manyo. After looking around a bit, she noticed a girl with blue hair. Miyol started following her and realized that she was going into the forest. After that, she was standing on the cliff. The girl had already started to fall, but Miyol grabbed her. Miyori introduced herself and said that she came from another country, and not understanding the situation, butted into the conversation, for which she apologizes. Manyo asked her to let her go, as there was no longer any reason to live in her form. The girl decided to ask if she was speaking like that because she had become a Marcio woman. If so, she took responsibility. Miyol asks for permission to help her get married. Miyol said that she would continue, and first she had to take her to her home. She will explain everything to Manyo's mother. The woman was shocked with you that the marriage with Cabreras was dissolved. The woman started yelling at her daughter and asking her how this could happen. She said that she should know what it cost her to find someone. The man agreed despite the fact that she had no father. Miyol said that she was sorry. She couldn't watch this man insult Manyo. Her mother screamed that these insults could be tolerated. She does not understand how bitter it is. To become a woman of Marcio Manyo is an orphan, so there is no one to arrange a marriage for her. She is so unhappy, and yet she seems to be quite old. Everyone called her the Marcio woman, and I say that she must be very lonely, and asked me to keep her company. Even though he is much older than her, she should be grateful that he accepted her. Yes, his health is already failing him, but there's nothing to be done. It's so hard. The fact that the mother, despite everything, found a groom is simply a miracle, and she does not understand at all how else to explain it to her. Manyo began to cry and apologize to her mother. She said that she could not allow anyone to speak badly about her father, who was so kind to her and about her, even though she had put so much effort into raising her. So if she can't get married, then I think it's better for her to die and not cause any more trouble. Her mother didn't understand what kind of nonsense this was. She screamed at Miyol and said that all this happened because of her. Manyo tried to say that this woman saved her. She said that she was going to find the man she would marry. The woman did not understand at all what could be done, and who does not even understand what is happening. Miyol was told that this is why she can do something. Now she asks her to forgive her. She will come back later. Miyol didn't know what to do now. The values of this world were very different from what they were used to, and yet she would make Manyo the main character, but she doesn't understand at all where to start this. The man then told me that she was so calm, so he assumed that she had already figured out the situation. She really needs to learn to think differently. There are no values in this world that she is accustomed to. Here it seems a marriage of convenience is strange, bringing people together based on their social class. Miyole decided that she would break the laws of this world. 2 men came into the bar and told Rivar that they wanted red wine and whiskey. They were shocked when they saw a girl alone in a bar and decided that this woman was Marcio. They were just annoying. Miyori has another problem. She doesn't know how to cope with it. The owner of the bar came up to her and said that this was his wife. The men were shocked that Rivar got married and started congratulating him. This became the reason for drinking. The owner thanked them. Then Miyori approached him and asked what it meant. He told her to be quiet. Miyori didn't quite understand what all this meant, and in what sense she was his wife. Rivar said she should listen to him. I don't know about that in her country, of course, But here, if a girl comes to a bar alone, it's strange. If she wants to succeed, she knows what to do. Come to think of it, even when she was working, people at the agency told her that she was worried about not being married. They wore wedding rings themselves, but she was never in a relationship. And he will be her husband, maybe temporarily. Not that she wants it, but there's nothing she can do about it. The girl introduced herself and said that it was nice to meet you. The man said that he was still waiting for his turn when he was led with someone, but still nothing. His friend remarked that he would become a man if Marzio Miori approached them and asked, so it was summer that they themselves were looking for someone. The guy said that they didn't even think about it because everything was arranged by the parents. Miori asked what would happen if they could do it themselves. The man said that they didn't know anything about partners. Miori remembered that if there had been a profile card, things would have been different. Miori heard strange sounds and didn't understand what it was. Then she saw a card in front of her that described the owner of the bar. Rivar works as a bar manager. His salary is $700. He was never married and has no children. Compatibility, closeness, and location with him are 0. Girl, remember that the man who saved her also had one like that. That time she also touched the badge. If she points it at someone, I'm afraid then a profile appears. So she can do something. The profile card reflects basic information about a person. Based on the information on it, you can search for a suitable person. Something else is displayed too. Miori didn't quite understand why her compatibility, closeness, and affection with the owner were 0. It's like in the simulator, if these indicators are 100%, then they form a pair. Miori was happy, but she didn't quite understand how she could change the object. Rivar didn't quite understand what she was doing. The man told Rivar to carry the bacon. She finally figured out the controls. If you hover over 2 at the same time, their compatibility is shown. If you hover over 1, then compatibility with her is shown. You can use it. It's just like playing a game by watching guides, although these are cheats. But she couldn't get out of it any other way. Miori asked the owner if he had any paper. Rivar said she could use it on the back of those leaves. The back of these leaves is really handy for writing. She needs to write down information about all the men who come to the bar. It won't spread. Rivar noticed that something was wrong. Suddenly he realized that the tree of cards had fallen, and next to him on the floor sleeps Miori. He needs to make her pay for the tree and for overnight stay. He decided to take one of the cards she was lying on. He couldn't read it, but he saw a portrait there. It's not very well drawn, but he recognizes his visitor in it. He didn't quite understand what she had in mind. Find their fate, that's her job. Suddenly the girl woke up. She realized that she had accidentally fallen asleep. Miori realized that he had most likely seen her sleeping. This is not a dream, but reality. But everything is so similar to a dream. For example, that she sees profiles. Her affection for Rivar had risen to 3%, and she didn't understand why it had risen since yesterday it had been 0. It seems that all this is her reality now, and yet nothing has changed. Miori decided that she would make the main character happy. The mother was very angry and told her not to come here anymore because it was impossible to find another husband. Miori provided the profiles for today. The woman didn't quite understand what it was. Miori said that Manyo could choose from them those who would be interesting to her. The mother was shocked when she heard that you can choose. She had never heard of a girl choosing herself. It was impossible. It's unclear whether this will work. Miori said that with the chosen ones, perhaps not. Miori said that she would show Manyo's profile to anyone she chose. Manyo was shocked that she already had her profile and didn't understand when she had time. In fact, the girl only copied what she saw. It will not be compatible if the person shown the profile refuses. If no feelings arise when you meet, then it's also a failure. Well, if everything goes well, it will result in a relationship. Her mother said that this woman speaks so strangely that she doesn't understand anything. What kind of relationship is this? A marriage in which a person does not even know the face of his betrothed. In her country, it used to be like that too. But now it has become normal to first get to know a person and only then enter into marriage. Choose for yourself, not under duress. Only then will the world change. Miori noted that the one who could change the course of affairs in this country was Manyo. The girl said it was too hard to do it alone. But Miori said that she is not alone. There is her in her form. Miori asked to become the main character who would be happy. Mother said that she couldn't stand it any longer, first to destroy an already arranged marriage, and then to offer something incomprehensible. Miyori is just burdening her daughter with unnecessary worries. Miyori said that even if the probability is only 1%, she wants to find her destiny. After all, if you just wait, nothing will change. The mother still agreed to let her try to do it. Marriage won't happen by itself, so she has to take responsibility for it. Miyori noted that Manyo had already attempted suicide once and was ready to become Marzio's woman. The mother shouted that nothing could be done with her life. Mother and daughter hugged. The game is over, but she presses continue. Miyori can replay as many times as needed. And yet Manyo does not understand at all how to choose. The girl can remain on interests, or she can take into account whether the person drinks or not. In any case, a decent meeting will still teach her something new. Now, Manyo has chosen 5. The girl does not know what she will get the first time. Miyori wasn't sure if they would come to the first meeting, but so what? Everything starts from scratch. Miyori decided to do her best to make the main character happy a few days later. Rivar asked her in horror what she was doing. Miyori asked him if he could put up a reserved sign outside. Rivar did not understand at all what this meant, and the girl told him that there would be a one-on-one meeting here. Rivar asked horribly what other meeting, and asked her why she was setting up her own rules here. Miyori added that there was no talk of any restrictions. She was carrying a table and accidentally tripped. He started to fall on her, but Rivar saved her. They were so close. They were lying face to face. Suddenly, Manyo entered there. She began to apologize for disturbing them. Miyori greeted her and remarked that she looked beautiful. Manyo pointed out that Miyori had chosen her clothes herself. The aura has changed. Now Manyo will meet 3 men, and she will choose based on her feelings and appearance. Rivar didn't understand how this could happen. It was time, so Miyori gave her the profiles. If the conversation suddenly reached a dead end, she could use them. Manyo understood everything. Rivar could not say what should be chosen by appearance, because he thought that it was worth inviting not 3 but more. Miyori noted that this was a paradox of choice. Rivar did not quite understand what it meant. For example, it is much easier to choose from 3 things than to choose from 10. They greeted the first applicant. He said that he was a doctor and his name was Tran. In fact, he was already married, but his betrothed died. Manyo believed that he had had a hard time. The man confirmed this and said that she had drunk the experimental mixture he had prepared. But he didn't know they couldn't be tested on humans. Miyori said that was the end of it. The second man is R. He runs a jewelry store, and he was always looking for a girl like her. Manyo was shocked by this. The man shouted that he had finally found the rough diamond that almost became Marzio's woman. He promised to turn her from a poor girl into a happy bride. The group of stones will shine after polishing and will fit perfectly in his shop. Bored customers with a lot of money will buy into this story. Miyori gave Manyo some water to drink. The girl was grateful because her throat was dry. Miyori asked her how she felt about the first 2. Manyo thought they were too good for her. Now they welcomed a 3rd challenger. The man apologized for being late because he had urgent work to do and was finishing it at the last minute. He ran so hard that his throat was dry. Manyo offered him her water and said that she had not touched it yet. He was very grateful for this, and when he drank, he felt better. The man asked to introduce himself. His name is Wesley. He works as a tailor with his mother. The girl asked if this meant that he also lived alone with his mother. The man confirmed this, but his father passed away early. Manyo said that her mother also raised her alone, and she would also like to help her with her work. However, this is not necessary, so she even envies him a little. Wesley noted that his mother was stubborn. She had decided that she would raise him on her own so that she would not be ashamed of him, even though he had not had his father's upbringing. Manyo said that she believes that this is a parent's responsibility, and although he is of course very grateful to her, he understands why she refuses help, but it is still difficult to accept. Manyo agreed with him and noted that she wished their mothers could rely on them at least a little. Therefore, she thinks that it will be easier for her if she gets married sooner. The man said that she thought it was her fault that she couldn't get married without her father. The girl said that it was not about that. It would be good if she could be near her mother. Wesley noted that this was indeed a difficult question. The owner of Kuzminki that it was great that they got to talking like that. Miyori agreed with him and was glad that the girl also talked a lot. It was really important to have something in common. If there is something at all, it is much easier to open up yourself, and then the rule of mutual exchange kicks in. It encourages the interlocutor to also talk more about himself, especially if both have a similar situation. Of the three men, Manyo seems to be the one who has the best conversation. Their compatibility is also quite good. Wesley could not talk about how they understood each other so well, because already at their first meeting they had talked about so much. Manyo was also happy. The man noted that she even wanted to get married and calm her mother down as soon as possible. Manyo confirmed this, however, Wesley asks permission to pretend that he never told her this. Manyo didn't understand why the man admitted that he was embarrassed to discuss it. Because he is not worthy of marrying her. He and his mother are barely making ends meet, and he will not be able to support them both. At first, he was very happy about the news about the bride because he always blamed himself for not being able to get married. Well, now he could calm his mother down. He never thought he would have such a pleasant time. It's great that he met her, and he is sure that she will still find her man. After that, the man began to leave. He asked for forgiveness, but Miyori asked him to wait because there was a solution to his problem. Wesley thought it must be some kind of magic. Miyori said she could work with him in the atelier. The man was shocked with you that she could work with him, after which he began to say that he could not force his bride to work. This was not at all manly. The man can't get married because he doesn't earn enough. Miyori said that if they work together, their earnings will double. Wesley said he couldn't allow a woman to work. Manyo stood up and said that it couldn't be, and didn't understand why she hadn't thought of it herself. The girl has always caused only problems, so if she can help her future husband, she will be the happiest. Wesley said that he as a man would be ashamed, and of course he could not do such a thing. Miyori said that since they would be starting out with a temporary relationship, he didn't have to worry about it. Wesley didn't understand at all what a temporary relationship was. Manyo knew, because that was what had been said earlier. First, they will have time to get to know each other. That's how temporary relationships work. There is one rule. According to it, they can get to know a person by meeting him 3 times. Rivar was in complete shock that 3 days, and it was so easy. Miyori noted that this is the theory of 3 sets. The first meeting is an assessment of appearance. The second meeting is a rethinking of the assessment. Anti-meeting is about determining the overall impression and deciding whether a person can become a partner. And no matter how many times people see each other after the 3rd meeting, the impression usually does not change. When people seem incompatible, the relationship ends and people break up. Wesley was shocked with you that they could just break up like that. After all, he believed that it was customary to stay with the chosen person for life. Miyori presented everything according to general instructions. The meaning of her world does not work here. Wesley believed that they should not separate because they were not suited to each other. He was sorry. He apologized again and said that he would go. Now Manyo said that she actually liked him very much in appearance. She really liked Wesley's appearance. The men were very surprised by this. At first, she didn't understand what it meant to choose based on appearance. Well, when he spoke to his mother or about taking care of her, his face was so beautiful. Manyo thought that she always wanted to see him by her side, even though the temporary relationship implied a certain test. They are needed to strengthen the connection. Meet and talk, feel. If they are compatible and understand everything that is impossible to see. If they feel that they want to continue being together or if they have any difficulties, they can contact her. With all her heart, she wants them to become the main characters. Manyo smiled. They were already finished. The first marriage counselor in this world, she seemed to do a good job. River would never have thought that by choosing by appearance, you can also see a person's inner world. Miyori said that was wrong. Rivar was angry because she herself told him to choose his appearance according to his taste and to do it for himself and not for his mother. Her job is to guide people according to theory, but the final choice is made by the protagonist. Based on her experience, she can say with confidence that things will work out for these two, but what should she do now and where to go is unclear. Rivar stopped her and said that she should feel sorry for these two. He asked her if she had listened to him at all. Miyori said that they should meet first and then decide. The man noted that they had agreed that there should be a wedding. Tree of cards, payment for overnight stay, food, drinks, penalty, total from it 35,000 Sven. Miyori promised that she would definitely bring things to a wedding, although there were no guarantees. She apologized and said that she would definitely pay for everything. She was just asking him for a little time. The man didn't understand how he could trust someone who had appeared out of nowhere, so she would stay here until she paid. And she will continue to do her job. She wrote off a bunch of leaves to her cards, so she has work. She decided to work at Rivar's establishment after all, and she will do everything in accordance with the general instructions. Miyori greeted with good morning. She changed her clothes. Miyori said that these were the first things that Manyo sewed and gave to her. Rivar noted that it was not bad and looked comfortable. Overall, not bad for the first time. Miyori thinks so too. Rivar asked her if she would wear them. Miyori said that these are her clothes for fighting here. Suddenly, someone started calling her sister. Miyori didn't understand where the sound was coming from. Rivar said that it was him talking to her. The boy noticed that he was talking to her as if she were Rivar's wife, and he loved Rivar like a brother. The girl asked him to call her simply Miyori. The owner asked why he had come here. The guy said he heard that Wesley and his wife had met here and he thought maybe he would be introduced to some girl. Miyori said no to a girl but to a girl. The guy immediately apologized because she looked very scary. In fact, he wants to get married as soon as possible. If he doesn't have a wife, he won't be accepted as a full-fledged person. And if he waits until he gets set up with someone, he can grow old. Come to think of it, she heard the same thing about Manyo. Miyori asked, in what sense does the word svidut mean? The guy asked me, that's how those two met. Everything turned out differently there, and she herself is not a local, so she doesn't know the details. In the country of Misel, there is a marriage dating organization called Kura. When a child reaches adulthood, his parents enroll him in this institution. The consultant arranges marriage based on family background and capital. The guy didn't know if this was aimed at developing the country, but blacksmiths like him were left out in the cold. He remarked that it was great that girls were chosen based on their looks. Miyori was very angry, so he apologized. He thanked her for the food and said that it was time for him to go to work, and he was counting on his little sister. Organization of Marriage Acquaintances, Kura. Honestly, if it does not work, maybe as an option. But she doesn't have any girls she can imagine. Even if she was going to open a marriage agency, she had no idea where to invite girls from. The visitors are all men. If a girl came in here, she would be mistaken for a Marchio woman. Suddenly, the main character came up with something. She offered Rivar to buy it. She apparently often said that she was now deeply in debt. Even if she lost, she could still gain. That's what she thought. She decided to ask when the weekend was in their country. Rivar said that she had to work for 5 days, and then she could take 2 days off. Just like in Japan, Miyori said that next weekend they will have a free buffet especially for women. Rivar didn't understand what free meant. Miyori said that in order for them to come here, it was necessary to make them understand what kind of place this was. They'll come once they'll come again. Rivar was sure that it would work. They will taste what they sell here and will want to come back. After these words, Vladimirovich decided to assert that it really is not bad. If everything works out, he will have more clients and they will both be in the black. Rivar agreed after all and said that she could buy as much of it as she wanted. Well, Rivar said there should be a notice board at the back of the square. She put up a sign that the following weekend, there would be a free buffet for girls only and no men allowed. All that remains is to wait on the appointed day. For some reason, no one came. The girl didn't understand at all why no one came. Rivar noticed that there was no one. Well, suddenly, the doors opened. They turned around in hope to see who had come. It was that same boy, and he asked for milk. Miyori shouted that the boy was not allowed today. However, it was useless. Miyori decided to go to the bulletin board. Perhaps their signs had been torn down. If she didn't hurry, the food would get cold. Well, when she came, she saw that the notice was still hanging there. The girl thinks about it that they have nowhere to go. Miyori apologized and asked them about that place. The woman saw a free buffet for girls. They couldn't even believe their eyes. Miyori told them that they were open right now so they could definitely take a look inside. The woman noted that if she came with her husband, she would be able to save money. Another woman thought that it would be better to bring her daughter and son. Miyori apologized to them and informed them that men were not allowed to enter there. The women were shocked with you that the bar was only for women. They said it was such a shame. The women decided that there was something fishy there since everything was free. They even felt uneasy and it was dangerous to leave their daughter alone here. Still no one. Miyori flew up that you shouldn't think that everything will work out right away. She decided to try the food herself. It's so delicious. Even if I lose one thing, they gain another. Rivar said that although nothing worked out this time, next time everything will definitely pay off for them. Miyori was told that a complaint had been received from a customer. They said that everything was planned in advance and feelings were not taken into account. Miyori apologized and said that she wanted the best for them. It's okay to make mistakes no matter how many times she makes them. The main thing is to decide what to do next time, Miyori thanked Rivar. She told him that she was booking him and the bar for the following weekend. Miyori put up another ad. Those women were surprised with you that the same girl put up another ad. She is really stubborn. Rivar asked her if it was okay that the menu was the same, but the girl didn't see any problem with it. Rivar wasn't sure she knew what she was doing. This time she curtained the windows and doors. The man wasn't sure that anyone would come because who would come in if you couldn't see what was inside? River knew that she was going to fail again, but suddenly the doors opened. It was Manyo. Miyori was very happy that she came. The girl noticed that she saw the announcement and she also invited her friends. The girls noted that they were so envious of their father and brother when they came here. They were very happy that they finally came here themselves. Miyori was very grateful. And Rivar was shocked with you that they actually came here. Well, if it's free, thought Rivar, but he saw that they paid 10 Sven. He didn't quite understand what she had in mind. River grabbed Miyori's hand and asked if she was taking money from them. This time, Miyori confirmed this. The man thought it was the opposite. Miyori added that in her country there is a saying, there is nothing more precious than what cannot be bought. For example, expensive things are sold by attracting something free or asking to do something impossible. That's why she thinks there's something behind it, because even now it's doing it with hidden intentions. But once people pay, they stop being so wary. We start wondering if they should come here. Miyori greeted everyone with joy. Now it is clear why so many people had gathered. So that's her plan. The ladies were delighted that there were such delicious dishes there. Although the meat is heavily seasoned, it is not at all difficult to eat. Girls always dreamed of having a drink at the bar. Many didn't even tell their parents that they were coming here, otherwise there would have been a fuss. It's so nice to sit here when no one is looking at them from the outside. Now Rivar understood why she had curtained the windows. The girls asked Manyo if she had met her fiancé here, and this is after the previous funeral was dissolved. Although it was hard for her, there is a girl sitting over there who helped her a lot. The girls noticed because it was so cool and they wanted the same. They all came up to her and asked if she could recommend anything to them. Without a good pedigree or outstanding appearance, Kura won't even look at them. Many will become Marcio's women at this rate. The girl said that you could count on someone richer for your beauty. Even here, marriages of convenience work. But this is Miyori's chance to collect girls' profiles for the first time. It's so good that she arranged everything. She asked the girls to fill it out. Many of them didn't quite understand what it was, but she explained to them that it was a profile card. It reflects their occupation and income. In case they are of interest to their potential partner, they must fill it out. Women were shocked by you that they had to write about themselves. Miyori was informed that she would introduce them to potential partners, and if they were interested, she would arrange a meeting. The girls thought it was too arrogant to write their own wish. People might think they were too self-made. It embarrasses them so much. In Japan, many people are also reluctant to share personal information. Here things are even worse. With Manyo, it was different. Miyori didn't understand at all how she could make them understand. The woman noted that it seemed that she was the only one who had won here. She doesn't know when she will be introduced to the Kura. She keeps waiting and waiting, no news from them. Well, she thinks that it is indeed normal to be jealous of others. She asked Miyori to help her fill it in. It also required her to draw a portrait of herself. It will be easier to make a couple. I will find out the external data, but in fact photos of the face and full length are very important. Miyori asked if she could look at her face. When she took off her mask, the girl saw a beautiful and pretty lady in front of her. All the girls were shocked that it was Saravan. The girl said that she had heard rumors that people were brought together here. She came only with the intention of scouting out the situation, but she was lucky her request was accepted. Saravan noted the wishes. In them, she wrote that she wants a suitable person for herself. Could it be that she didn't care about anything anymore? Miyori didn't understand at all what this could mean. Men understand that she is still as beautiful as ever. Another man told him to stop. Apparently, he can't get this lady anyway. Saravan, who desires the impossible. She is the only daughter of a florist and is known as the first beauty in the city. So you might think that a mate would be found for her immediately, but they say that she received many offers from high-ranking officials, but turned out to be very selective. It seems she was showered with gifts. Everyone was jealous. She was so careful in choosing her groom that she was nicknamed the one who wants the impossible. And apparently, she still hasn't settled on anyone. She heard rumors that people are brought together here. She said then that Lesha came with the intention of scouting out the situation, but she was lucky Ravar noted that she was selective. He noted that Miori had recently spoken about the paradox of choice. The ability to choose brings with it a feeling of superiority and even omnipotence. Because it always seems like there's a better person to find, it often ends up being impossible to make a decision. That seems to be her case. The men looked at her with such loving eyes. She was so beautiful. One of them remarked that he would be proud if he had such a wife. His friend said that he was a fool because they were not equal to her. After that, Miori came up to her and said hello. The woman asked if she had found the right person for her. Miori said that she had not yet, and that she would like her to tell her more. Saravan believed that they were whispering about her. It was all true. She was the one who wanted the impossible. She was born into a family of an ordinary florist and thought that being introduced to someone would not be easy. But thanks to her external beauty, she immediately received a marriage proposal. She was happy. But she received an offer from a man of high rank who showered her with gifts. The men argued about whether she was suitable for them or for their sons. Many believed that she was planning a marriage of convenience, but she knows her worth. She constantly found sometimes scary, sometimes short or boring who were not attractive in appearance. Later, she realized that although all flowers wither sooner or later, it is hard to accept. Only the moment of blossoming is valued, the right person for her. She didn't mean what she wanted to choose. She meant to be chosen. Miori was saying that there was a possibility of arranging a meeting with her. However, until she gets rid of her curse, nothing will change because marriage is never decided for her. Marriage is when a person decides for himself. Saravan did not understand what to do. Miori said that she would do everything according to the general instructions. She feels awkward asking this, but it must put on a robe like last time. The girl was surprised by this. She could wear regular clothes underneath it. Saravan at the 9th that on a date you can wear regular clothes. When she arrived, she wasn't sure if it would be exactly or if everything would be okay. Miori noted that they were waiting for her. Saravan was grateful and began to take off her robe, but Miori stopped her and said that she could keep it on. Saravan asked her if this meant that she would sit in this dirty robe for the entire meeting. Miori asked her to put on a mask as well. The woman did not understand at all what the point was, since her face would not be visible at all. Miori asked her to calm down because her interlocutor would have the same one. She did not change the profile card she had filled out in any way. The woman did not understand how she was suggesting that she conduct this meeting. Miori noticed that she had already seen many people of different status, appearance, and build, but men saw only her beauty. "The mask will nullify her weapons." Miori asked if she could fight like that. Saravan agreed. She decided that whether she was wearing a mask or not, nothing would change for her. Her potential partner entered the room. Unlike that time with Manyo, they are sitting alone. This is generally considered normal. Although men often allow such frivolous encounters, many people turned her down, but this man turned out to be so shy that she thought he was the best option. Ravar suggested that perhaps this was why they were unable to talk. But overall, they had a pretty good compatibility, if only they could find topics to talk about. Saravan didn't understand at all why he was silent. If this continues, then it means she has to talk about something. Usually, all people seeing her face say that she is so beautiful and will definitely be their wife. And then she can only quietly laugh. What a dummy she turns out to be. Everyone evaluates only with their eyes, but even if she is not selective, sooner or later she will fall out of love with her. The man poured water on himself, and Saravan immediately jumped up and asked him what he was doing. He apologized and said he was so nervous that he forgot about the mask. But she was used to working with water, so everything was fine. Now the man understood why the skin on her hands was so rough. Saravan considered him a bore. Videos of people working with flowers, always rough skin in general. Although she always hides her hands under gloves, this time she was told to come in regular clothes, so she forgot about them. Her hands are the only weak point that doesn't fit into her beauty. And although I can't judge her now, I can't help but notice this. The man noted that my hands are great for you because they are the hands of a hardworking person. He said that his hands also suffer from work, but there is one good ointment. Saravan was surprised and said that she wanted to know about her. They did a great job. And when the girl took off the mask, she noticed that her whole face was sweating. Miori decided to ask her how she was enjoying this date. Saravan how to find that she really looked at the situation without using her weapon. She decided to give her the profile card of the person she had been talking to. After meeting him in person, she would give him her card. Naturally, even after the meeting, they can refuse. Miori asked if she agreed. When they both stood in front of each other, Miori said that they should take off their masks and robes. The man was in complete shock and did not understand how when he found out Saravan, the man could not believe that this was the same unattainable woman. However, he was forced to refuse, after which he apologized. Rivar and Miori did not understand why at all. Saravan noted that there was nothing new. She had simply decided to run away. Miori ran after her and tried to stop her. Saravan noted that being popular is not easy, but she didn't even give him her profile card. Miori apologized, but the girl told Shori that she didn't have to apologize since she came to this meeting herself. A girl who was selective and wanted a man of high status with money, it would not be surprising if she was dumped. So this is what it feels like to be rejected. Miori noted that natural human psychology is to want to find someone better. If she now understands what it means to get close to someone, then the next meeting will go better. Miori said that she would wait for her again. Saravan was very grateful to her. By the way, Miori asked the girl why she decided to meet him. Saravan said that she just did it. Rivar told the man that it was so in the form of him finally being chosen. The man said that he couldn't do that because he was a simple fisherman and not handsome either, and we were still very far from that beauty Saravan. They chose him only because they didn't know his face or his occupation, and he thinks that if she had found out the truth earlier, she would have been immediately disappointed. Rivar said that he would build her relationship from scratch, and he added that since they met face-to-face, it meant that something in her caught his attention. Well, if it was only him who was interested, he thinks she wouldn't reciprocate, and the fact that she's been rejected before makes her more valuable. Suddenly, the man broke loose and started running somewhere. Miori smiled because he still remembered her words. Rivar said that since she came, he asks her to clean up that table. Miori often thought about this. In her country, there is a similar way of meeting. It is easier for a person to share their true feelings when their face is hidden behind a mask. Rivar notes that it's ironic that true emotions come to the surface when you're trying to hide them. Miori asked him if he wanted to try it on too. Rivar asked her what would happen. The men talked about Saravan. She doesn't change, she's still as beautiful. They'll never get her. The same man from the secret meeting approached her and gave her something. She didn't quite understand what it was. The man said it was the ointment for rough skin he had been talking about. It wasn't expensive, but it worked well. Like a sweetness that can't be found anywhere, her elusive bouquet of roses, large jewelry on her first-class dress, Saravan dreamed about her. The girl felt so pleased that she asked him if he would introduce himself first. Rivar decided to ask Miori what she intended to do. The girl said that she wanted to host girls' nights at the bar on a regular basis, and also find a partner for Saravan. Also, it is necessary to improve the male profile cards. It is also necessary to create a comfortable atmosphere so that people can calmly consult. But suddenly men burst into the store. Miori didn't understand what it was at all. They started shouting that they were saying that Saravan and Poder were on good terms. Miori was shocked because she knew that they did not agree to this. More girls burst in and asked if it was true that she and the fisherman had a meeting. When the men heard that they had a meeting, they were even more shocked. The woman said that she heard it from them, so there could be no mistake. Everyone was shocked that she had found a suitable person for herself here. The girls decided that they would also fill out a profile card. But some were still wary of this because they did not believe that it was possible to get married simply by filling out a card. Rivar reported that a couple of problems had already been resolved. Miori was also happy about this. But if things continue like this, then a separate room will be needed. And then they can make another entrance and a waiting room. And they'll also need a bunch of map tree sheets. Rivar shouted at her that she should not forget that she was deeply in debt. Miori considered him a miser. This is great because the new premises were ready. They also made a separate entrance, and they even put up a sign. She left the name of the company she worked for. Miyori was very grateful to him. The man said that if there was no need to make a foundation, then it could be done in no time. Ryvar was glad because now the work of the barn also had to be stopped. And no one will disturb the visitors. The builder noted that they did not expect anything else from him. He did everything as she asked, and yet she is not sure if he is truly happy. Ryvar added 2 million Sven to her debt. Miyori realized that he was not happy at all. The builder thought it was going to be a bar renovation, but he doesn't understand what kind of bride's room it is. No man will say that marriage is bad. Miyori was shocked because he had no desire to marry. She was surprised that in this world they believed in such nonsense. If so, then it is unclear why it is the unmarried woman who is called Marcio. The man told the teacher that he had already finished the work. The chief builder was delighted. Miyori thought it was his son, but the guy said it wasn't. He was his fucking student named Sir. Ryvar asked what was wrong with the Coles. He had heard that they were doing the same thing as the Kura. So the man asked them if they could help his daughter, even though he was registering her in the Kura. Despite being an experienced carpenter, he was placed at the very end of the line. If they marry her off, he won't charge them for working here. Ryvar said that there is nothing more precious than you that you cannot buy. Then he asked what Miyori's plans were. Miyori promised to do everything according to the general instructions. Kantara's daughter had already come with him and met Miyori. She immediately apologized if her father had said something wrong, but Miyori assured the girl that everything was fine. And you such a coincidence that the first client here was her first. She has to fill out a profile. In her wishes, she wrote that anyone would suit her. Miyori was surprised and added that in those points, she could indicate, for example, hobbies, food preferences, or something else. Coles said she doesn't care who her fiancé is because she doesn't really want to get married. The girl just wanted to do housework. Since childhood, she was praised for her talents, and she thought that she would follow in her father's footsteps. But he said that he would make Sur his successor, and she would have to get married. Her happiness comes from working with wood, and if she can't do it, she doesn't care what happens next. Miyori became a marriage broker to make people happy, but marriage to this girl will not lead to happiness. If so, then all she can do is solve this problem at the cost of her existence. Ryvar approached them and said that filling out the card would be enough for today, and they would contact her. Kolish counted on their help and decided to leave everything to them. Ryvar said that in the south where she went there is a forest called Varanasi. There are herbs growing there, so she should go and collect them. Miyori tried to stop him, but he said there was no rest and she had to work. Miyori noted that this was the place where it first appeared. For some reason, she came to Rivara's bar. Suddenly interfering with the affairs of this world, Miyori thought there was a reason why she was here. Well, if marriage doesn't bring happiness, then she doesn't understand the meaning of her existence. Meanwhile, the man asked Rivar where his wife was. At first he was surprised, but then he said that she had gone into the forest for herbs. They reported that a monster had appeared since yesterday. Rivar was simply horrified when he learned about it. Meanwhile, Miyori met a wolf there. These are clearly the eyes of a predator. Miyori came to this world after she died. Perhaps after she died, she will return home. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a man appeared and began to fight the monster. He defeated it with ease. Miyori was shocked with you that the monster escaped. The man she saw asked her if she was hurt. She realized that he looked very much like the man she had seen for the first time. Even though they met for just a second, he must remember her. He said that all this time she did not give him peace. The man said that he was in a hurry then and left her there. He is very sorry. Miyori realized that he really did remember her. The girl said that it was nothing because that robe had helped her a lot. She also apologized for saying this only now. He said that the monster had reappeared in the forest and was keeping order. He was surprised that she didn't know about it. Miyori admitted that she was simply sent here on an errand. She was shocked that Rivar might have known it was dangerous and sent her anyway, but she immediately realized that this couldn't be true because she still owed him. The guy asked if she was talking about Rivar, who owned the bar. Miyori was surprised that he knew him. The man said that he had been to this bar a couple of times. Miyori apologized and said that she didn't see him there at all. Well, it's not surprising that she didn't see him, because when he goes out in public on business, he disguises himself, but that's not important now. When she found herself right in front of the monster, she didn't try to run away, and he wondered why she did that. Perhaps she could return to the previous world. She couldn't tell him about it. He handed her something, after which the girl asked what it was. He said that if she wanted, she could help herself. These are sweets to calm down during stressful times. Miyori was truly grateful to him, but she didn't quite understand what was going on. It's sweet, and it makes her feel better. With one bite of sweetness, all worries will disappear in an instant. This is a family legend. Now she will tell about her fears. She came from another world, so she doesn't understand the rules and customs here. She thought she could handle it all on her own. Well, that's what she thought. A man asks to marry his daughter she does not want to marry. One can only marry by one's own will. And if this is not so, it contradicts its own principles. The man noted that this was arrogant. She helps other people for her own satisfaction. If this is the case, then it is better to contradict principles doing so without hesitation. Even in dating sims, she often had to go against the rules to see all the endings. That guy didn't really understand what a dating sim was. However, the girl she played has ended up in a bad ending. Miyori is very grateful to him, because she remembered that she had something to do. She added that she would wash the robe and then return it. Well, the man insisted that she keep it for herself because it suits her very well. First, you need to talk to Kantar and Koles. This sound seems familiar to her. Perhaps it is the monster again. But Rivar was peeking out from the bushes. It was clear that he was running with a sword in his hands. Miyori was very scared when she saw him, and the man asked in horror if she was okay. Miyori shared and said that she was fine. Rivar realized that it seemed that she was not hurt. Rivar said that she didn't care about the herbs, and they were going back to the bar. Miyori tried to stop him. She begged him to take her to Kantar. Rivar was surprised, but fulfilled her request. The girl immediately ran up to Kantar. He was surprised when he saw Rivar with his wife. The girl said her name was Miyori. He assumed that she had already found someone for his daughter. Miyori said that she decided that she wanted to talk to the two of them first. Kantar said that his daughter and his wife had gone shopping, but they would be back soon, so they could wait inside. The guy served the guest. Miyori thanked him and noted that he was like a fish in water here. The guy confirmed and noted that he had been working here since he was 7. The girl was surprised that he had started his work so early. His father worked a lot with Kantar, but he died due to an accident at work, and his mother also died soon after. The teacher could not stay away and took him in. He raised him as equal to his own daughter. They studied together. His sister supported him even though he was unsuccessful, and he is very grateful to her for that. But by his mistake, he took her place. Father said that it was not his fault. Suddenly, the daughter and her mother entered the room. Koles said that it was not he who took her place, but her father who replaced her. As soon as she turned 18, they immediately decided to marry her off. Now, in addition to turning to the Kura, he asks for help from Miyori. She asked her father, and he told me that she would follow in his footsteps. She always wanted to do this job. Her father shouted at her to stop because only marriage would make her happy. Kantar ordered Miyori to find her a husband. Quickly, Miyori said that she thought he would be found quickly. After all, anyone would do. The man was surprised and asked again. Miyori reported that this was his daughter's wish. If character compatibility is not important, then she thinks that someone will be noticed right away. Since she cannot follow in his footsteps, she does not care who will become her fiancé. Father started shouting that he wanted to. Mother tried to calm them down. Miyori said that there was one way. And this meeting is through representatives. They as parents will go to meet her instead. Koles suggested that it was a wonderful idea, and she would agree as long as it was the person chosen by her father. Kantar didn't understand how this was possible. Rivar decided to ask the builder what he didn't like. After all, that's exactly what he wanted. Kantar said he understood and agreed to it. Miyori said that in that case they would do everything according to the general instructions. They finally returned to the bar. The guy noticed that they were already late because he was already starting to worry. He was glad that his little sister was okay too. Miyori wasn't quite sure what okay meant, so the boy said that the owner didn't know that it was forbidden to go into the forest, so he quickly hurried after his little sister. I see, so in the forest he wasn't trying to send her to certain death. Miyori was grateful to him, but the guy told her to tell him better what kind of meeting this was through representatives. In her country, this is becoming more common. Parents come to the meeting in place of their children. The circumstances may be complicated or the person may not agree. Of course, there are downsides to this, but she hopes she can channel them Rivar was happy because she became more confident. Miyori noted that first it was necessary to find a text about who would come to the meeting with Kantar. The woman apologized and said that she had heard that a meeting would be held through representatives with Kantar. Miyori confirmed this and said that both parents would come to the date instead of their daughter, and after that they would invite their partners. The woman noted that it must be difficult to do this without any options, so she asked if she could go to this meeting. Kantar didn't understand at all who Koles was so stubborn after. It was clear to him that she was exactly like him. Regarding the meeting, she would like to respect Koles's wishes. Her father shouted that he had had enough. Because it won't work. His successor heard all this and he didn't even know how to react to it. Little Koles was very happy and asked her dad to see because she made the cabinet herself. Mom was also delighted because she made it for her. The little girl said that it was hard for Mom without a cabinet and it was always busy. The man was shocked the foundation was so strong. He told his daughter that she was a talent, as I expected from his daughter. She will follow in his footsteps. The little girl was happy and said that she too would become a carpenter. Kantara had this dream. His wife was telling him that it was time to get up because it was time to get ready. Miyori informed A that the meeting through representatives was beginning. Miyori told them to call her if they needed anything. The man was glad to meet me. He introduced himself and his wife. She was also pleased to meet him. Another woman said she was Boju. Her husband and son were busy at work, and she was very grateful to them for this meeting. Kantar didn't quite understand what he needed to do, so before the meeting he asked Miyori what he should do. The girl said that he could first introduce his child and then discuss issues that were of interest to both families. After that, if no problems arise, the children themselves come to meet him. Kantar decided to try. He said that his daughter helped him with the family business until she was 18. She is responsible, serious, and capable. His daughter is also considerate and kind. Boju noted that she knows this because they used his services before. The man was shocked, so he decided to look at the profile card. The hotel is the only place in the city where you can stay. And he remembered that about 3 years ago he had done some renovations to the rooms, and then he had refused them a great favor. Then his daughter also helped. Her husband was very impressed by her meticulous work and good taste. That's why she is so glad to meet them. A woman who seems kind, the son of the owner of a popular hotel. If his daughter marries him, the father will be at peace. Boju added that she would be so happy if their daughter married her son. That way they could keep the hotel clean for free. Kantar was shocked when he heard and asked again. The woman said that she looked like a strong and physically powerful girl. The man stood up and started shouting, asking if she wanted to say that this woman wanted his daughter to work for them as a carpenter. The woman confirmed this and said that she was suitable to become their son's bride. As he had said earlier, his daughter would not continue his business. Boju noted that it was a pity to let such a treasure go. If she was going to work there, then at the very least she should become the owner of the hotel. But the woman said that a carpenter's daughter was not suitable for such a position. Everyone must know their place and use what is at their disposal wisely. The man laughed and did not understand how he could give his precious daughter to such a place. He agreed that it would be better for her to stay with them. The woman said that if she stayed at home, she would not show her talent, but with them she would be useful. Kantar shouted at the woman to get out, because she would never get his daughter. After the woman left, the carpenter realized that he had ruined everything, but he did not understand at all how one could say such a thing. And even to think such a thing about someone's daughter, the daughter of the carpenter, Koles and Sul. The girl didn't quite understand why he came, and the guy said that he was just worried. Not only was she proposed to, but she was also entrusted with a job as a carpenter, and she thinks that this is the perfect option for marriage. Well, the father didn't agree because they want to use her. If that's the case, then she asks to let him stay at home, as he himself said, and it doesn't matter that she won't follow in his footsteps. She asks that he at least let her work with him. The man thought about it and said that this would not happen because she would be happy in marriage. Marriage is the graveyard of life. Miyori noted that now this is said in the sense that by entering into marriage, a person loses freedom and becomes happy. However, the original expression meant, love each other with all your soul and get married in a church where there are graves. Koles chooses work in favor of his partner. Miyori asked Kantar if he wanted his daughter to become Marcio's woman, even though he was married. His wife asked him if he should tell the truth. Coles was surprised and did not understand what her mother was talking about. One day, he was drinking with friends. They asked if his daughter was 18 yet and inquired if she was already registered with the Kura. The man said no, not yet. His friends started shouting that it was very strange that he didn't want to marry her off. After all, she won't find a groom on her own, therefore she urgently needs to be married off. Kantar said that he was actually going to hand over his business to her. The men were in complete shock and asked him if he was serious. Kantar confirmed this and said that they themselves know that she is very talented, and someday she will surpass him as a carpenter. His friends said that it was impossible. Of course, she is a master, but it cannot be that a woman takes on the role of the leader. His friends said that a woman could not be trusted with such a job, or he wanted his daughter to die all alone. Kantar only wanted her to inherit his business, but he can't let her be alone when he heard something like that. As long as he's alive, everything is fine, but what will happen to her when he's gone? That's why he wants her to get married so much. Coles was in complete shock. Suddenly, Sur intervened in the conversation. He decided to ask if he could marry his daughter. Kantar was in complete shock. Sur added that of course the proposal is official. If they get married, she will be able to continue working, but as his wife, and thus all formalities will be observed. Mom asked the guy if he was really ready to do this. The father asked him if he really wanted this strong-willed and stubborn girl to become his wife. When he found himself without family, she was there to keep him from wallowing in loneliness and self-hatred. She always supported and cared for him, and nothing could make him happier. As an opportunity to create a real family with her, Kolesh almost burst into tears. Kantar said that this was great and suggested that they start planning the wedding as soon as possible. But Coles refused because she was not ready to marry a man who had less skills and intelligence than she did. The father asked her if she said that she was not against his decision. River noted that she had actually said that her mother had said that it meant that everything was decided. Coles wished they wouldn't talk like she wasn't there, even though everything would stay the same. Well, she wondered when they'd announce it. Miori gave out a profile card to Coles, but she didn't notice that it was time to delete it. Boju kept wondering how it would end, and it looks like everything worked out wonderfully. And although the wedding is still a long way off, she is very glad that she was able to help. Miori noted that in the end she had to make her look like a bad person, so she asks for forgiveness. Boju said that there was nothing wrong with that because there was some sincerity in it. When the gentleman helped them with the reconstruction, the new interior of the rooms proposed by his daughter received many positive reviews. This combination of delicacy and practicality makes a strong impression, and it would be a shame if such talent were to be wasted. Boju said that perhaps Coles was very lucky with her marriage. Miori noted that in other words Mr. Kantar had agreed after all. Boju added that I should still entrust the work to men only. She will come up to you and say that it is time for her to return to work, and she asks you to take care of the marriage and her price too. Rivar added that her debt was growing. Miori noted that more and more people were finding their destiny. Miori was absolutely horrified and asked what would happen to her room rent. It would increase by another 2 million Sven. The girls asked Rivar what he could advise them since they wanted to place an order. Lately, more and more girls have been coming to the bar. It seems that they come specifically because of him. It's not surprising because Rivar is popular. Quark asked her if she was nervous. He remarked that it was indeed good to be handsome. There's probably no end to those who want to meet him, while ordinary workers are trying their best to keep their jobs. Miori that he himself has a forge, and he'll be busy and he'll get attention. Quark thought no one probably knew he was married to her. Miori noted that they didn't really tell anyone they were leading the truth, but she didn't mention that anymore. Quark said that's why they need rings. Rings are an important part of a marriage. They also act as protection against female fans. The guy promised that he would make them wedding rings. But Miori said that it was not necessary. Quark did not understand why at all, because he thought that she was worried. Rivar turned to them and asked why they were making so much noise. Quark collected the measurements and told them to wait for the results without fail. Rivar asked the girl what he had not planned. Rivar added that she also had clients coming to her now. The one who doesn't need marriage and the ring is of no use. Miori got to work. She had a dream. The girl said that Dans with whom they had been in contact recently had contacted her. This time nothing worked out. The man definitely did not understand why, when it came to relationships, he was always rejected. That he has an attractive appearance, it is easy to talk to him, so everything is close to a relationship. But the woman gets tired of him talking only about himself and interrupts him and starts talking about himself. Girls have a hard time with someone who imposes his views, the type who is showing off, trying to put himself in the best light. She has no evil intentions towards him, however. Even if she tells him everything as it is unlikely that he will understand. But she does everything according to the instructions, that's her job. She said that when talking to a person, he should try to imitate his words and actions. If a girl touches his hair, he should touch his hair too. He can copy facial expressions, and it would also be nice to repeat after a person. He didn't understand the meaning of it at all. Miyori said that when someone is competitive, it's easier to get close to them and easier to fall in love with them. This is called the mirror effect. It will make it easier to listen to the other person and the conversation will go better. The man understood and decided to try the mirror effect, but it didn't work. When he seemed to copy, they only became scared. Miyori realized that he had obviously overdone it. He had no idea what to do. Miyori suggested that he simulate the situation. She invited him to come into the bar, after which she asked the owner for 2 drinks, after which they sat down at a table and Miyori told him to copy her movements and words. They drank together, after which Miyori asked if it was tasty. The man said it was since he was the one who recommended the bar, after which he immediately realized that it was a mistake and said that it was really delicious. Miyori added that she had gotten lost here the other day while running errands. He noted that girls tend to have poor sense of direction. Miyori showed him again that this was wrong, after which he tried to act surprised that she was lost. After which the girl asked him how he liked this mirror effect. To tell the truth, the conversation turns out to be tedious. It seems to make no sense. Miyori said that if the conversation is difficult, then you can only adjust to the facial expression. He decided that if this was the case, then everything would work out by itself. Miyori advised him to take advantage of this on their next date. Miyori said there was one place she wanted to visit. He decided to ask where she would like to go and noted that he would be glad to go there with her. Miyori was Rose. If there was any progress, it would be more like a mirror effect. Well, it's awkward because he was so engrossed in talking about himself that he thought his interlocutor was also interested. It's okay to be rejected. She worked with him all the time. That's why he's so sorry. Miyori noticed that he was able to develop a conversation, and that was also charming. He should focus on the good parts, and he would be able to build a wonderful relationship. And she, in turn, will do everything in her power. She said that they need to take a short break. In the meantime, she would get them more drinks. He was very happy because she was trying so hard for him. When she approached the owner, she was in complete shock when she found out that she also had to pay for the seats. Rivar noted that this was natural since she was here as a visitor to my workplace. She said that this was arbitrary since she was paying for the drinks. Rivar promised to include all this in her debts. Sean thought that they were not getting along at all. What he noticed was that she was completely different with him. Rivar decided to ask her if she was okay. Miyori didn't understand at all how she could be okay when she was all in debt, after which she went up to Sean and apologized for taking so long. The guy was very grateful to her. Since then, Sean has been dating, and today they seem to have started a relationship. Miyori thought that it would be very good if Nai stayed together. Miyori happily reported that Dona, with whom he is currently communicating, asked to organize another meeting. This is so great. He was a complete step away, so the girl asked if everything was okay. He apologized and said that he couldn't. Miyori was in complete shock and thought that something was wrong. He said that the thing is that there is a person he likes. Therefore, he cannot continue communicating with Dona. Miyori was upset. She said it was great that someone he liked had appeared. She said that in that case, she would convey his refusal to the girl and cancel the recording. Suddenly, he shouted. He asked Miyori if she would marry him. The girl was speechless. He said that when he couldn't do anything, she was always there to support him. She was the only one who understood him. Miyori was in complete shock, because this was her job. Miyori asked him to calm down. When Dona smiled at him, he remembered Miyori's smile. And then he couldn't answer her in kind. He said that he wanted to smile with Miyori. This is the Xanet's effect. When people see someone often and they have a good impression of that person, they start to think that person is a perfect fit. On top of that, they practiced mirroring and the result was simply incomparable. Miyori said that she was a consultant after all, and she couldn't reciprocate his feelings. He asked her if she was married and asked her to take him seriously. He decided to tell her to marry him again. Miyori was shocked and didn't know how to react. Suddenly, Reaver came up from behind and said that no, because she was already his wife. Sean was already there when he found out she was married. He was shocked because she lied to him. Reaver said he could call it whatever he wanted. They just didn't say they were married. Sean screamed that they didn't get along at all, and there was no mirror effect or anything between them. Sean was furious about this, that everything he did was pointless. Miyori tried to say something to justify herself, but Reaver stood in front of her and said that he wanted to be with this man all his life. And naturally, he cares about his partner if he really wants it. Then his business and even his soul will be in motion. And now he imposes his feelings and reproaches her for the fact that everything is not going the way he wants, and he thinks that this way he will be happy with her. Sean was very upset. Miyori apologized to Sean and said that she could not reciprocate his feelings and she would always be Reaver's consultant and wife. Miyori promised Sean that she would do her best to lead him to happiness. Sean asked to be excused and started to leave. Miyori apologized to Reaver and thanked him for his help at the same time. Reaver asked if this happened often. Miyori said that it was the first time for her, but it had happened to her colleague before. Clients sometimes confess their feelings but accept any outcome. It seems they get tired of looking for their person and choose a partner from among those who are close to them. She had been told before to wear a ring so that clients would not pester her. Apparently there really was a point in drawing that line. Reaver asked her to give him her left hand. Reaver put the ring on her. Miyori was delighted. The man noticed that Quark had come by recently and gave them to him. He came just in time. Now she's a real wife. Miyori also put a ring on him. Reaver noted that he really is a master of his craft. Her debt has increased even more. It is quite expensive. Reaver said that he will pay you for the rings himself. This is the first gift to her, his wife. Miyori was very grateful to him. However, if she loses it, she will pay twice as much. Miyori understood and promised to be careful. When she looked at the ring again, she was very embarrassed. Her whole face was burning. The girls came to her and said that they would like to sign up for a meeting. Miyori, as expected, told them to fill out their profiles. These were the girls who came to Reaver's bar. They were very unhappy because Reaver was his wife and his ring was still sparkling. The effect is really impressive. Miyori said that she will let them know if they are compatible with anyone. Suddenly she saw Sean there. The man didn't know how to ask if he could consult her again. Miyori noted that he could of course receive this consultation. She will do everything according to the instructions. She added that many people have signed up now. He was delighted. Quark noticed that there were fewer girls visiting because of the ring. Reaver noted that one could say he bought himself peace of mind. Miyori was receiving customers again. Recently, the number of customers had increased. Because they are spoken about so well, the number of profile cards has also increased. It's so cool. Despite this, it's a bit difficult to pair up. The proportion of people entering into temporary relationships is 20-30%, and even when someone is suitable for each other in appearance and the values match, there is a chance that the person will be rejected. If she, as a consultant, cannot help, then it will be bad. Suddenly, someone knocked. Miyori was delighted because this was the man from the forest. The man remembered that he had not introduced himself. His name is Chamberlain. In fact, she learned his name back then through his badge. She thanked him again for saving her in the forest. The man said that she didn't need gratitude and asked if everything was okay after that incident. Miyori said yes and noted that it was all thanks to him. Chamberlain was glad to hear this. She asked him why he had come here and not to Reaver's bar. The man said he had heard that one could find a marriage partner here. Miyori remembered that when they met, she thought that he was someone who would never stop asking to meet. Miyori asked him again if he was sure he wanted to submit an application. Chamberlain noted that he wanted to know more details first. So first you need to fill out your profile card. Suddenly someone knocked on the door and a man entered the establishment and said that he would like to use the services of their marriage agency. Miyori was grateful for the request, although she is currently busy working with another client, so she apologizes. But Chamberlain said he would come later. Miyori asked him if everything was okay. The guy said everything was fine, he would come later. The man said goodbye and left. Miyori asked the masked man to fill out the profile card. When she looked at his card, she saw that he was a doctor. She did not understand at all why such a person decided to come here instead of a chicken. Miori decided to ask him how he knew about their establishment. The man said that his patient told him about this place. He had been to Kura several times, but none of them were successful. But here he seemed to see a ray of hope. At the end, he needs to add his portrait, so he has to take off the mask. The man was surprised by this. Miori informed him that it was necessary for the profile card. After that, the man took off his mask. The stranger apologized for his appearance and remarked that she must be surprised no one would choose him as their partner. Miori started drawing. I said that everyone has different tastes, and besides, some people might have a different impression after talking to him. It would be an honor for her to help him get into a good relationship. When he saw the portrait, you were surprised that it was him. Miori apologized because she was not very good at the artist, but he was counting on her. Miori said that she would do everything according to the instructions. He also wants to see an honest person in a partner. First, she needs to find someone with a suitable character. That doctor man was walking through the forest, and there behind the tree stood Chamberlain. Miori ended up organizing a meeting for the doctor, and yet doctors in this world are quite popular. This time, she will try to create the perfect couple again. They decided to start a meeting. Miori told the doctor to take off his hat and mask, but the man was very embarrassed in front of his interlocutor. Still, he took off his mask and hat. The interlocutor asked him if he was a doctor, and he noted that it was immediately obvious that he was a respected person. The man said he was only born into a doctor's family and otherwise he was worthless. The lady told him that it was all wrong. The doctor apologized to Miori at the end of the meeting and asked if he could meet with someone else. Miori confirmed this. At the next meeting, he was again forced to take off his outerwear. The woman noted that she never thought she would ever find herself at a meeting with a doctor. He thought that she must be very disappointed in him, but the girl denied all this. The doctor apologized to Miori after the meeting and said that he needed someone else. Miori thought he had trouble keeping up a conversation. The man confirmed this and apologized that it was because he was shy. Besides, he felt like no one wanted to talk to him, so he always hid his face. If he does not establish eye contact, the interlocutor will feel awkward. In case he cannot look into his eyes, he can try to look between the eyebrows. This will make it seem like he is looking straight into your eyes. Plus, you can immediately let the person know that he is shy. Even if he becomes silent in the middle of a conversation, there will be no misunderstanding. After all, the interlocutor will know that he is a little awkward. And another very important point is that it is better to refrain from negative statements. Vitya, who looked at his profile card, chose him, so he should be more confident in himself. And yet, the meeting did not go as well as we would have liked. While Miori was thinking, the same man from the forest came to her again. Miori apologized for last time, but Chamberlain said it was okay. The girl tried to find his card. The man noted that she had a lot of work to do. Now I am also among the visitors of the bar. This is a hot topic for discussion. Like in this agency, you can meet a doctor. This is certainly true, but so far little has come of it. The main problem is that the doctor lacks self-confidence. Miori had previously arranged meetings for the doctor, having a high income and stability in society. The doctor was completely confident in himself and married the girl of his dreams, so she wonders if she can help someone who couldn't even do it in a year. Miori said that he wanted the kind of meeting he couldn't find in Kura. Chamberlain noted that this place might be his last hope. That's probably true. Unlike Kura, Miori has a different approach to her clients, and that's where her agency's advantages lie. You can't give up. Miori is very grateful to Chamberlain. He once again offered her that same treat in case she gets tired. The man asked Rockfall what he was doing. He kept wondering why he was rejecting the offer from the chicken, and he went to look for a companion in the city. The man was shocked with you that he wants to bring a commoner into the house, much better than stopping his mouth altogether. He shouted that he shouldn't have rejected the marriage proposal in the first place, but he had spoiled him completely. The male doctor understood that no one would ever love him. Miori provided him with the profile of the girl for today's meeting. The doctor noted that someone like him would never marry. Rockfall said he was ugly, fat, and had terrible skin. People come to him only because he is a doctor. Otherwise, no one would come to someone like him. A girl knocked and asked for congratulations to introduce herself. Her name is Ulda. Miori greeted her happily and told her to sit down. The doctor, as always, took off his hat and mask. Miori said that if they needed anything, they could call her. The guy was thinking that he was good for nothing. The girl decided to ask him if he liked children. The doctor was surprised by this question, after which the girl immediately asked how many children he would like. Rockfall admitted that he had never thought about it, but it would be terrible if they grew up to look like him. The girl didn't quite understand what was so terrible about this and repeated her question once again whether he wanted children. Still, the doctor said that he really wanted children. Ulda asked Miori to come to him. She said that they would like to get to know each other better. Rockfall was simply horrified, and the girl said that their interests coincided, so she did not understand at all what the problem was. Miori noted that she was right. The man tried to refuse the doctor in every possible way, but in the end he resigned himself and asked her to take care of him. Miori said that it means they decided to get to know each other better, so they have 3 dates to do so. The doctor decided to ask what people usually do on dates. The first date can be spent over a short meal so they can get to know each other's characters well. It is better to make the second one longer than the first one, during which they will be able to discuss plans after the wedding. The third date should be the longest. They will be able to talk about family or work, and then they will be able to find out the values of the partner, and then they will be able to share their feelings with each other. If the feelings are mutual, then they can take more serious steps. They can always consult with her if they suddenly have doubts about something. Miori was very happy the videos did not advance to the date, but she still felt anxious somehow. It feels like Ulda is being wooed by the doctor, but it's unclear if he can become more persistent. In a relationship, a man should be a leader and give his partner peace of mind and a sense of confidence. It is necessary that the girl wants to follow him. There is nothing left but to believe in the Racha. The day of the first date, Miori informed Rivaru that she would be leaving for a while. The meeting place was on a hill outside the city. Manyo helped her choose her clothes. Miori thought she looked weird, but the girl said she was just cute. Miori decided that she definitely wouldn't be recognized. Suddenly, the same man from the forest called her by name, but the girl said that he was mistaken. But Chamberlain stood his ground and said it was her. The girl thought it was her glasses that gave her away. She changed her usual appearance because she didn't want anyone to recognize her. Perhaps she is following someone. Well, considering her work, one can conclude that she is guarding someone's date. So he asked her if he could join in. Miori didn't even know what to answer her. Chamberlain remarked that he wanted to know how dating worked in general. Now she understood and said that this was also a kind of research. She gave him permission and they decided to go together. They need to go on about 3 dates. The first one is supposed to be a light lunch. Well, if they often go out together before the wedding, it will be noticeable. The man noted that she was right. They seem to be getting a lot of attention too, although most likely only Chamberlain. It's all because of his appearance, and the girl is sure that he is definitely popular. Suddenly, they came across this couple, after which they began to follow them. Ulda decided to ask the doctor why he was wearing a mask. The man said that he always wears it on the street and at work because he thinks that it will spoil the mood of those who see his face. People might see her with someone like him and she'll be very ashamed. Ulda laughed. She said that she would not be ashamed of the ring. However, having lunch together was still a bad idea. That was what the doctor thought. Ulda said that in that case he should follow her and took the man's hand. At this point, she didn't understand at all where she was dragging him. Miori apologized to the boy for having to run. Chamberlain himself understood this, but he didn't quite understand why she was doing this. She thought that spending time like this was not a bad thing. If the percentage of people getting married increases, her agency will prosper. Miori said that then she will be on the same page with the Kura. In fact, she had only recently arrived in this country and didn't know much about the Kura, but she had heard that their intentions were different from hers. Although marriages connect one family with another, if in the end the people themselves are unhappy, then there is no point in it. Therefore, Miori will do everything to make her sit down to make the master happy. Miori was very upset because while she was talking to the man from the forest, they left. She thought that this was the end, but suddenly she saw them. Ulda led him to her garden. The man was surprised with you that it was her garden. The girl said that there was definitely no one here except them, so he could safely take off his mask. When he took off his mask and hat, the girl was delighted to finally see his face. Tomorrow, my mother came up to her and asked her if she was going on a date today. The boy snatched the doctor's mask from his hands. His brother started screaming for him to give it back and apologize for his little brother. Mom asked Ulda if she went on a date with this gentleman. She remarked that he was a nice man and wished them a good time, and her younger brother returned his mask. They apologized for being so noisy, but the man said everything was fine. The doctor remarked that it was a very beautiful place. Ulda was very happy. Miori realized that they had a good atmosphere there. She would make him happy. Chamberlain decided to ask her who would make her happy. Miori didn't hear, so she asked again if he said anything, but the man said that he didn't say anything. After which, he said that she would put it on for next time. At home, the man looked at himself in the mirror. He remembered all the words about how he was ugly and how he made them sick, and also that he was a monster. He was upset, but he remembered how the girl told him that she could finally see his face and was very happy about it. The doctor began to cry heavily. Second date, Ulda asked if he was okay. She asked him if he wanted to help. He was good at housework, so he would like to be of some use. Ulda noted that in that case, she didn't mind. They had a good time together. The girl was very grateful to the doctor because he simply saved her, but the man said that it was not worth it. But his lower back hurt a lot. After which, he decided to ask her what they would do with those products. Ulda started to tell me that it would not be suitable for sale, so they would eat it themselves. He knew it. The look is important to me. That's why it's hard to sell. Ulda added that they are very tasty. She said that appearance doesn't matter at all. Still, he decided to ask why a woman like her decided to invite someone like him on a date. Ulda that he worked in a hospital several years ago. He was doing an internship then. One day, her brother was bitten by a poisonous snake and she brought him in for examination. But he was scared by his mask and became hysterical. But the man said that everything was fine and took off the mask. Then she decided that she wanted to be with him and start a family. The doctor said he was ugly. Ulda assured him that it was what was inside that mattered to her. Chamberlain noted that they communicated well. Miori also agreed with him. Miori added that it would be great if things continued like this. Rockfall told his parents that he was home. Mom was shocked and did not understand where he got so dirty. The guy gave her a whole box of vegetables and the woman didn't understand where he got it from. He said that he was actually on a date. Mom was in sunshock and started asking who she was. Rockfall said it was the woman who raised them. It was Ulda, the farmer's daughter. The father shouted that he was a fool. He thought that he was making fun of them because he was talking about the farmer's daughter because she was not their equal. Rockfall said that she takes him seriously. Well, the father shouted that even the fight was clear that she communicates with him for money. She was a liar, and he had been through that before. But Rockfall thought that this girl was different. Third date, Rockfall was sure to me that she would fall for the money because it is impossible. This can't be happening. Men started whispering behind him and they started asking him if he really went on dates. They told him that there was no one uglier than him in the city. She was definitely with him for the money. Rockfall said that this was not so. Apparently, she said that she wanted children. The man was asked if he really believed that she was not lying. After all, she says this in order to get married. Rockfall thought that couldn't be true. The men told him to check if he didn't believe them. The man said it was great that she wanted children, even though she was disgusted. The doctor believed that they were wrong because this girl was not like everyone else. Today is the third date. It will be good if it continues. Rockfall is already there. Chamberlain noticed that he was acting strange today and asked the girl if she thought the same. Ulda greeted him happily. She asked him how the vegetables were and if they were tasty. Rockfall was sure that she would definitely accept him, so he immediately took off his mask and rushed at her. He threw her on the floor, after which the girl began to ask him to let her go. Chamberlain decided not to waste time and immediately rushed to save her. Meanwhile, Miori ran up to Ulda and asked her if she was okay. The woman confirmed that she was. Miori angrily asked the doctor what he was doing. The doctor laughed and said that she really was a liar like all the other girls. In the past, the chicken introduced him to a girl he became engaged to. She said she wanted to be with him because he was kind, but he heard screams. He decided to see where they were coming from, and this woman was screaming at Belle and saying that she had a meeting with the doctor. But she screamed that she didn't want this because just the sight of him made her sick. And the thought of him touching her makes her feel uneasy. She would rather die than marry him. He was so arrogant, of course it was all because of his face. Rockfall broke off relations with her, then met another girl, but her words and facial expression showed the truth. When people see him, their eyes change and he can't escape it. Even if people hide it, he still understands that he is hated. Ulda said that she wanted children, but in fact, she was disgusted that he hugged her. In the end, it turned out that she was a mercenary liar. Miyori put glasses on him. The man didn't quite understand what it meant. Miyori said that he had misunderstood everything and was scared right now. He doesn't want to hurt himself, so he protects his heart. That's why he's so careful. But to save his heart, he belittles and hurts others. She is not sure that this will make him happy. Dao then said that he always says that he is scary and impossible to communicate with. That's why it's hard for her. She will be unhappy with him. Miyori said that he wants to take action, get a refusal, and calm down. Even though he just saved Ulda from the snake, he acts as if he is deliberately testing her. Chamberlain noted that he had been trying to save her from the start. No need to check anyone. After all, Ulda was sincere with him from the very beginning. Ulda apologized to them and said that she simply didn't notice and he saved her. The man shouted that this was all wrong and that Miyori was right, but he didn't want to hurt himself. Ulda looked at him like that and he couldn't believe it and protected his dirty heart, so he sincerely cried and asked for forgiveness. Miyori asked permission to end these dates. The doctor told Miyori that she could tear up his card. The consultant didn't mind. The man said that if she didn't do it, everything would happen again, and he didn't know if he could change. But he wants to try. Miyori has seen many who wanted to change. It's hard to remember them all. However, if he really wants to change, he will definitely succeed. Ulda called the doctor and said that in order to get a tasty harvest, you need to start from the ground. Add lime, change the compost, and then tasty vegetables will definitely grow, so he'll be fine. Miyori apologized to her for putting her in danger, although she was looking after her all this time, so she also apologized for peeping. But the girl said that it was okay because in the end she helped her, so she was extremely grateful to her. Miyori added that they would see each other again. Ulda said goodbye with tears in her eyes and left. Miyori also thanked Chamberlain as he was also very helpful. But when she looked to the side, she saw that there was no one near her. He was already in the forest and watched as the doctor looked at his mask and eventually threw it away. When Miyori returned, Rivar noticed that she was late. He asked if everything went well. Always regrets. Perhaps she should have done it this way or advised that if she had done it differently, they would have had a different future. Despite this, she connected them and changed the future. Rivar noted that she was doing well today and had tried hard even in an unusual outfit and with her hair done. He decided to give her her reward. It was a calming candy. Miyori smiled back at him and thanked him. Besides, there are many different solutions. That she was allowed to help already, a large part. She had already managed to change her clothes. Miyori, I wanted to make everyone the main characters with her. Rivar asked her they are better to flip through the main heroine. It may be temporary for now, but one day she will definitely become the main character. Miyori asked if this meant that they would have something together. Well, suddenly someone knocked. It was Chamberlain. They were very embarrassed and immediately moved away from each other. Miyori thanked him again. The man said that it was not necessary because it was an honor for him to help her. He will notice that apparently this ring is temporary for. Now Rivar was horrified with you that he heard everything. Miyori said that she would explain everything, after which Chamberlain asked if he could give the real one. Rivar angrily asked him what he was talking about. The girl came and said that she had come for advice about the wedding. Miyori decided to continue doing everything according to the general instructions. This is the end. This is certainly true, but so far little has come of it. The main problem is that the doctor lacks self-confidence. Miyori had previously arranged meetings for the doctor, having a high income and stability in society. The doctor was completely confident in himself and married the girl of his dreams, so she wonders if she can help someone who couldn't even do it in a year. Miyori said that he wanted the kind of meeting he couldn't find in Kura. Chamberlain noted that this place might be his last hope. That's probably true. Unlike Miyori has a different approach to her clients, and that's where her agency's advantages lie. You can't give up. Miyori is very grateful to Chamberlain. He once again offered her that same treat in case she gets tired. The man asked Rockfall what he was doing. He kept wondering why he was rejecting the offer from the chicken, and he went to look for a companion in the city. The man was shocked with you that he wants to bring a commoner into the house, much better than stopping his mouth altogether. He shouted that he shouldn't have rejected the marriage proposal in the first place, but he had spoiled him completely. The male doctor understood that no one would ever love him. Miyori provided him with the profile of the girl for today's meeting. The doctor noted that someone like him would never marry. Rockfall said he was ugly, fat, and had terrible skin. People come to him only because he is a doctor, otherwise no one would come to someone like him. A girl knocked and asked for congratulations to introduce herself. Her name is Ulda. Miori greeted her happily and told her to sit down. The doctor as always took off his hat and mask. Miori said that if they needed anything they could call her. The guy was thinking that he was good for nothing. The girl decided to ask him if he liked children. The doctor was surprised by this question, after which the girl immediately asked how many children he would like. Rockfall admitted that he had never thought about it, but it would be terrible if they grew up to look like him. The girl didn't quite understand what was so terrible about this and repeated her question once again whether he wanted children. Still, the doctor said that he really wanted children. Ulda asked Miori to come to him. She said that they would like to get to know each other better. Rockfall was simply horrified, and the girl said that their interests coincided, so she did not understand at all what the problem was. Miori noted that she was right. The man tried to refuse the doctor in every possible way, but in the end he resigned himself and asked her to take care of him. Miori said that it means they decided to get to know each other better, so they have 3 dates to do so. The doctor decided to ask what people usually do on dates. The first date can be spent over a short meal so they can get to know each other's characters well. It is better to make the second one longer than the first one, during which they will be able to discuss plans after the wedding. The third date should be the longest. They will be able to talk about family or work, and then they will be able to find out the values of the partner, and then they will be able to share their feelings with each other. If the feelings are mutual, then they can take more serious steps. They can always consult with her if they suddenly have doubts about something. Miori was very happy the videos did not advance to the date, but she still felt anxious somehow. It feels like Ulda is being wooed by the doctor, but it's unclear if he can become more persistent. In a relationship, a man should be a leader and give his partner peace of mind and a sense of confidence. It is necessary that the girl wants to follow him. There is nothing left but to believe in the Racha. The day of the first date, Miori informed Rivaru that she would be leaving for a while. The meeting place was on a hill outside the city. Manyo helped her choose her clothes. Miori thought she looked weird, but the girl said she was just cute. Miori decided that she definitely wouldn't be recognized. Suddenly, the same man from the forest called her by name, but the girl said that he was mistaken. But Chamberlain stood his ground and said it was her. The girl thought it was her glasses that gave her away. She changed her usual appearance because she didn't want anyone to recognize her. Perhaps she is following someone. Well, considering her work, one can conclude that she is guarding someone's date. So he asked her if he could join in. Miori didn't even know what to answer her. Chamberlain remarked that he wanted to know how dating worked in general. Now she understood and said that this was also a kind of research. She gave him permission and they decided to go together. They need to go on about 3 dates. The first one is supposed to be a light lunch. Well, if they often go out together before the wedding, it will be noticeable. The man noted that she was right. They seem to be getting a lot of attention too, although most likely only Chamberlain. It's all because of his appearance, and the girl is sure that he is definitely popular. Suddenly, they came across this couple, after which they began to follow them. Ulda decided to ask the doctor why he was wearing a mask. The man said that he always wears it on the street and at work because he thinks that it will spoil the mood of those who see his face. People might see her with someone like him and she'll be very ashamed. Ulda laughed. She said that she would not be ashamed of the ring. However, having lunch together was still a bad idea. That was what the doctor thought. Ulda said that in that case he should follow her and took the man's hand. At this point, she didn't understand at all where she was dragging him. Miori apologized to the boy for having to run. Chamberlain himself understood this, but he didn't quite understand why she was doing this. She thought that spending time like this was not a bad thing. If the percentage of people getting married increases, her agency will prosper. Miori said that then she will be on the same page with the Kura. In fact, she had only recently arrived in this country and didn't know much about the Kura, but she had heard that their intentions were different from hers. Although marriages connect one family with another, if in the end the people themselves are unhappy, then there is no point in it. Therefore, Miori will do everything to make her sit down to make the master happy. Miori was very upset because while she was talking to the man from the forest, they left. She thought that this was the end, but suddenly she saw them. Ulda led him to her garden. The man was surprised with you that it was her garden. The girl said that there was definitely no one here except them, so he could safely take off his mask. When he took off his mask and hat, the girl was delighted to finally see his face. Tomorrow, my mother came up to her and asked her if she was going on a date today. The boy snatched the doctor's mask from his hands. His brother started screaming for him to give it back and apologize for his little brother. Mom asked Ulda if she went on a date with this gentleman. She remarked that he was a nice man and wished them a good time, and her younger brother returned his mask. They apologized for being so noisy, but the man said everything was fine. The doctor remarked that it was a very beautiful place. Ulda was very happy. Miori realized that they had a good atmosphere there. She would make him happy. Chamberlain decided to ask her who would make her happy. Miori didn't hear, so she asked again if he said anything, but the man said that he didn't say anything. After which, he said that she would put it on for next time. At home, the man looked at himself in the mirror. He remembered all the words about how he was ugly and how he made them sick, and also that he was a monster. He was upset, but he remembered how the girl told him that she could finally see his face and was very happy about it. The doctor began to cry heavily. Second date, Ulda asked if he was okay. She asked him if he wanted to help. He was good at housework, so he would like to be of some use. Ulda noted that in that case, she didn't mind. They had a good time together. The girl was very grateful to the doctor because he simply saved her, but the man said that it was not worth it. But his lower back hurt a lot. After which, he decided to ask her what they would do with those products. Ulda started to tell me that it would not be suitable for sale, so they would eat it themselves. He knew it. The look is important to me. That's why it's hard to sell. Ulda added that they are very tasty. She said that appearance doesn't matter at all. Still, he decided to ask why a woman like her decided to invite someone like him on a date. Ulda that he worked in a hospital several years ago. He was doing an internship then. One day, her brother was bitten by a poisonous snake and she brought him in for examination. But he was scared by his mask and became hysterical. But the man said that everything was fine and took off the mask. Then she decided that she wanted to be with him and start a family. The doctor said he was ugly. Ulda assured him that it was what was inside that mattered to her. Chamberlain noted that they communicated well. Miori also agreed with him. Miori added that it would be great if things continued like this. Rockfall told his parents that he was home. Mom was shocked and did not understand where he got so dirty. The guy gave her a whole box of vegetables and the woman didn't understand where he got it from. He said that he was actually on a date. Mom was in sunshock and started asking who she was. Rockfall said it was the woman who raised them. It was Ulda, the farmer's daughter. The father shouted that he was a fool. He thought that he was making fun of them because he was talking about the farmer's daughter because she was not their equal. Rockfall said that she takes him seriously. Well, the father shouted that even the fight was clear that she communicates with him for money. She was a liar, and he had been through that before. But Rockfall thought that this girl was different. Third date, Rockfall was sure to me that she would fall for the money because it is impossible. This can't be happening. Men started whispering behind him and they started asking him if he really went on dates. They told him that there was no one uglier than him in the city. She was definitely with him for the money. Rockfall said that this was not so. Apparently, she said that she wanted children. The man was asked if he really believed that she was not lying. After all, she says this in order to get married. Rockfall thought that couldn't be true. The men told him to check if he didn't believe them. The man said it was great that she wanted children, even though she was disgusted. The doctor believed that they were wrong because this girl was not like everyone else. Today is the third date. It will be good if it continues. Rockfall is already there. Chamberlain noticed that he was acting strange today and asked the girl if she thought the same. Ulda greeted him happily. She asked him how the vegetables were and if they were tasty. Rockfall was sure that she would definitely accept him, so he immediately took off his mask and rushed at her. He threw her on the floor, after which the girl began to ask him to let her go. Chamberlain decided not to waste time and immediately rushed to save her. Meanwhile, Miori ran up to Ulda and asked her if she was okay. The woman confirmed that she was. Miori angrily asked the doctor what he was doing. The doctor laughed and said that she really was a liar like all the other girls. In the past, the chicken introduced him to a girl he became engaged to. She said she wanted to be with him because he was kind, but he heard screams. He decided to see where they were coming from, and this woman was screaming at Belle and saying that she had a meeting with the doctor. But she screamed that she didn't want this because just the sight of him made her sick. And the thought of him touching her makes her feel uneasy. She would rather die than marry him. He was so arrogant, of course it was all because of his face. Rockfall broke off relations with her, then met another girl, but her words and facial expression showed the truth. When people see him, their eyes change and he can't escape it. Even if people hide it, he still understands that he is hated. Ulda said that she wanted children, but in fact, she was disgusted that he hugged her. In the end, it turned out that she was a mercenary liar. Miyori put glasses on him. The man didn't quite understand what it meant. Miyori said that he had misunderstood everything and was scared right now. He doesn't want to hurt himself, so he protects his heart. That's why he's so careful. But to save his heart, he belittles and hurts others. She is not sure that this will make him happy. Dao then said that he always says that he is scary and impossible to communicate with. That's why it's hard for her. She will be unhappy with him. Miyori said that he wants to take action, get a refusal, and calm down. Even though he just saved Ulda from the snake, he acts as if he is deliberately testing her. Chamberlain noted that he had been trying to save her from the start. No need to check anyone. After all, Ulda was sincere with him from the very beginning. Ulda apologized to them and said that she simply didn't notice, and he saved her. The man shouted that this was all wrong and that Miyori was right, but he didn't want to hurt himself. Ulda looked at him like that, and he couldn't believe it, and protected his dirty heart. So he sincerely cried and asked for forgiveness. Miyori asked permission to end these dates. The doctor told Miyori that she could tear up his card. The consultant didn't mind. The man said that if she didn't do it, everything would happen again, and he didn't know if he could change. But he wants to try. Miyori has seen many who wanted to change. It's hard to remember them all. However, if he really wants to change, he will definitely succeed. Ulda called the doctor and said that in order to get a tasty harvest, you need to start from the ground. Add lime, change the compost, and then tasty vegetables will definitely grow, so he'll be fine. Miyori apologized to her for putting her in danger, although she was looking after her all this time, so she also apologized for peeping. But the girl said that it was okay because in the end she helped her, so she was extremely grateful to her. Miyori added that they would see each other again. Ulda said goodbye with tears in her eyes and left. Miyori also thanked Chamberlain as he was also very helpful. But when she looked to the side, she saw that there was no one near her. He was already in the forest and watched as the doctor looked at his mask and eventually threw it away. When Miyori returned, Rivar noticed that she was late. He asked if everything went well. Always regrets. Perhaps she should have done it this way, or advised that if she had done it differently, they would have had a different future. Despite this, she connected them and changed the future. Rivar noted that she was doing well today and had tried hard even in an unusual outfit and with her hair done. He decided to give her her reward. It was a calming candy. Miyori smiled back at him and thanked him. Besides, there are many different solutions. That she was allowed to help already, a large part. She had already managed to change her clothes. Miyori, I wanted to make everyone the main characters with her. Rivar asked her they are better to flip through the main heroine. It may be temporary for now, but one day she will definitely become the main character. Miyori asked if this meant that they would have something together. Well, suddenly someone knocked. It was Chamberlain. They were very embarrassed and immediately moved away from each other. Miyori thanked him again. The man said that it was not necessary because it was an honor for him to help her. He will notice that apparently this ring is temporary for. Now Rivar was horrified with you that he heard everything. Miyori said that she would explain everything, after which Chamberlain asked if he could give the real one. Rivar angrily asked him what he was talking about. The girl came and said that she had come for advice about the wedding. Miyori decided to continue doing everything according to the general instructions. This is the end.